everyone, how are you doing today? I'm coming at you today with my March TBR where yet again I cannot control myself, so I've ended up doing another 2 readathons and my heroic TBR game. So enjoy! Yeah, as I said, I am a dumbass who was like, I'm only going to do 1 readathon, and then Kevin from Much Ado About Books, he uploaded a new readathon and I was like, oh crap, because I really want to support him. And I was like, okay, well, straight away, that's now the Globetrotterathon, and I knew the Tropical Readathon was coming up. I was also thinking that the Medievalathon by Holly Hart's Books was going to come up, and I was starting to get a little bit, oh my god, I'm going to get overwhelmed again. But I was like, no, it'll be fine, we'll just get on and we will do our TBR game and 1 readathon. And then obviously a few readathons got announced, and even though the Medievalathon wasn't then announced, G from Book Roast uploaded a mini readathon for her readathon that she does in yearly and rebooted last year. And I was like, shit. But what I've done is I've done my heroic TBR, which I will show you the footage of the roles and the prompts in a minute. I am doing the Globetrotterathon by Kevin, which I will talk about very briefly. But there is a lot to that one, and to fully grasp it you need to watch the intro video, which I will link below. And I will be doing the Magical Readathon because that only requires 2 books, and all of the books that I will be doing for Globetrotter and my heroic TBR fit into those 2. So that one will get ticked off, and I just need to make sure that I only read those books in that week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut to me now rolling for the My Heroic TBR. When we come back, I'm going to do things a little bit differently to last month. I felt last month was a little bit chaotic. So what I'm going to do is I will just go through the My Heroic TBR prompts when you come back after seeing what prompts I rolled. Okay, so I couldn't find my dice, it's managed to be lost in the move, so we're just going to have to use my very loud laptop to roll these. So as I said, we're going to be doing 6 rolls this month. So for January I did 5. And I failed 2, so I get to go forward 3 spaces and I get 2 of my rerolls back. So 1, 2, back 3 spaces. Okay, so roll number 1, 5. And the card is Pony, new kid in town. Roll number 2, another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another blank. And for this one we have Principal Nezu, a non-human main character. Interesting. Next up, 7. Another blank. I'm good at drawing these. Shapeshifters. Okay, cool. Roll number 4 is a 1. I'm not even going to move the laptop off that one. And we have Stain, serial killer. Oh, I think I know what I'm picking for that. Roll number 5. Top of the shop, a 10. We're almost getting to the second side of the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So another blank. And we have Eraserhead, the loss of something. And then the last roll of the board, 3, which is going to be a blank. Oh no! I've got to go back. So I got last place in the UA tournament, so I have to go back a spot, And I still need to draw a prompt. So this last one we have snipe, a western or gunslinger. There's only one that I think I'm going to use my life on. So we're going to redraw Sukuuchi, who is the police officer, and the prompt for that is the main character's normal best friend. So basically a human sidekick type character. So here are the things for this month. Okay, so I don't remember the order because I'm recording this about 2 weeks after I rolled them. So I've just got a list here of the prompts and I have the books that I am going to be reading. And we have, first of all, we have the serial killer prompt. And for this, I am going to finally finish Vengeful by V. Schwab. I started it over a year ago. I got over halfway through it, or just about halfway through it, and didn't complete it. So this is going on March as a solid. This is going to be done and complete this month. The next one, originally, it was going to be House of Sky and Breath for the next prompt, but I decided against that because I have kind of given up on my TBR for February to then read that. So it's not going to be in March. So instead, for the non-human MC, I am going for, I feel like it's a bit of a cheat, but I'm not really cheating at the same time. But I am going for Skullduggery Pleasant Book 2, Playing with Fire. I need to read it because it's from the library and it's due back in a few days. I am going to extend the loan on it, but you know, I want to get to it. And he is basically a skeleton. Skullduggery is a skeleton. So even though, yes, technically a skeleton is human, he is dead, so that means he is kind of non-human. So I am just going to bend that one slightly and go for non-human. It's my game, it's my TBR, I get to do what I want. And yeah, so this is book 2, and it just says, Vengeance, Dusk, Sanguine, 3 of the deadliest killers alive are in town to resurrect an unstoppable creature of horrifying power, and only Skullduggery and Valkyrie stand in their way. It seems interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. The next prompt was The Loss of Something, and for that I'm going for Weird Sisters by Terry Pratchett, because this one also fits in both of the other readathons that I'm doing, so I wanted to fit it in this one. And basically this one is that the king has been murdered and his cousin has taken over the throne, but the child heir and the crown of the kingdom both are missing. So that's a loss of something. The crown prince has been lost. So I was like, again, bit of a stretch, but I'm going for it. So going with the Weird Sisters, and as people in my channel know, I'm not the world's biggest Pratchett fan so far, but this is book 2 of The Witches, and when I read them about 10 years ago, I believe I preferred books 2 and 3, but it's been so long I can't really remember, so I will give it another go. The next one is the first of, I think, 3 graphic novels / mangas that I'm putting in this month because it is quite a chunky TBR and I want to get through it. And this one, the prompt was New Kid in Town, and for that I'm going with When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed. This is a story of 2 brothers who are in a Kenyan refugee camp, and it kind of just follows their journey and how they eventually end up in America. From what I've heard and what I've seen, it's quite emotive and it's got a real deep look at what life is like living in these refugee camps. This one also will serve in 3... Is it 3? Yeah, this one will also serve in all 3 readathons, or reading prompts. The next one was Shifters, and for Shifters, of course, it's Nalini Singh, why not? And like I said, I am trying to reread her series, and I did Silver Silence in February and loved it. Still my top 3 for that series. And then we're dropping down to one that I know is quite low on my favourites of this one, but I might appreciate it second time round, you never know. And obviously I cannot talk too much about this without giving away massive spoilers, but this book follows Bowen and Kaya, and just a lot of stuff happened in the last book, and Bowen's fate, shall we say, was on a bit of a cliffhanger, and so this book kind of goes into their story. And Kaya, who, it deals a lot with trauma and grief in this one, which I think is really good. And yeah, I'm not going to go too much into, but as you know, Psy-Changeling is my all-time favourite book series, and I recommend it pretty much every video. I think I recommend a Nalini. So this one's also going to be in the Globetrotterathon, so it will be back very shortly. And then the final one that I had for the My Heroic is an ebook, which obviously I can't show you because I don't have it on me in person, but I will flash it up here, and it's called An Heir Comes, and I cannot remember the author's name, I apologise. And essentially this is about a girl who turns out to be the heiress of a kingdom, and the prompt for this was normal best friend, because she does have a best friend who's in it from page 1, and from what I can tell he is just sort of your average person with no sort of special gifts or abilities, so that's why I've got normal best friend. Moving on to the Globetrotterathon, as I said, this is created by Much Ado About Books, and I will link it all below. Essentially the idea is to read various prompts and try to read as many books that represent different cultures as possible, whether that be that the book is set in another country, whether the author is from another country, or if it's like a fantasy world, you may all focus in on the author or what the inspiration was. So for example, Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim is based off The Emperor's New Clothes. Nearly said The Emperor's New Groove, wrong franchise. It's based off The Emperor's New Clothes and is also very Asian inspired, so that would fit the prompt for like Asia and get a continent. So if you can read books that are in 7 continents, you get loads of bonus points, and you get bonus points for fulfilling prompts as well as what countries you visit or read about that are represented. For these books, what I'll probably do now is just say what the book is and the prompt, as well as what it's represented, because some of these did not appear yet, some of these have. So starting off with my team, which is Team Car, which is the team leader is the lovely, lovely, lovely Clumsy Charlotte. The prompts for Team Car are city on a cover, so read a book that features city elements on the cover. Journey, so read a book that is part of a series. Commute, which is to read a book with somebody else. And then Crowded, which is to read a book that is very hyped and has a lot of popularity. City on the cover, I have got Ocean Light because it literally features a city on the cover. I believe it's Venice because Bo is set in, like, Bowen lives in Venice, so I'm pretty sure that is Venice. The Journey, which is to read a book that is part of a series, is going to be Weird Sisters by Terry Pratchett, because this is book 2 in the Witches series. Commute, which is to read a book with somebody else. I have joined Spoopy Hole's not new, she's been doing it for a while, but it's new to me, read-along group, like book club. Her reading club features, I think it's graphic novels. When I've looked back, I've not really seen any novels, but I could be wrong. But it's mostly graphic novels that have LGBT rep in them. And in March, it's The Girl from the Sea, which I don't own yet, but I will be ordering with my first paycheck in March, and I will be joining in with that book club. So obviously that's a group thing. It's a group read. So that will go under reading with other people. So the next is Crowded, which is a hyped book. So the book that I've chosen for that is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I picked it up in a charity shop very recently, and I know that this has had a lot of hype in it. I'm probably like the last person to have read this book, mainly because this is not my genre at all, but I am trying to read a few more genres and try to expand my reading a little bit more this year before I decide, screw that, I know what I like and I'm sticking with it. But you've got 4 unlikely friends, a shocking murder, welcome to the Thursday Murder Club. In a peaceful retirement village, 4 unlikely friends meet up once a week to investigate unsolved murders. But when a brutal killing takes place on their very doorstep, the Thursday Murder Club find themselves in the middle of their first live case. Elizabeth, Joyce, Ibrahim and Ron might be pushing 80, but they still have a few tricks up their sleeves. Can our unorthodox but brilliant gang catch the killer before it's too late? I know a lot of people are torn with this book. They either love it or they hate it. We'll see how I get on, but that is the one that I'm doing for the crowded prompt, because this is a very hyped book. Whether you love it or hate it, it's hyped. And then for the bonus prompts, we've got Travelling, which is a book that features an element of travel. Minority, which is to read a book with a minority group rep. Flag's colours, so the book cover has to have the colours of the flag that the book, and then translated, obviously read a translated book. And for Travelling, for that one we've got Skullduggery Pleasant again, because I know they do a lot of travelling and a lot of moving around, and I imagine that people have, it says 3 deadliest killers are in town, so they've had to have travelled there to be in town. So that's where the travel prompt is coming in. We've then got, so for Minority is going to be When Stars Are Scattered. I keep trying to say When Stars Are Shattered, but When Stars Are Scattered, because it's set in Kenya and features refugees as well. So there's a lot of like minority and rep in there. Flag's Colours. I will be reading my third graphic novel for the month, and that is Fables Volume 2, and that does have red, white and blue because it's set in America. And in the first one we followed Snow White as she discovered the murder of her sister and was working to uncover that. In book 2, I believe we're now moving upstate New York, where the non-human passing fairy tale creatures are causing a bit of an upset and are getting themselves into a bit of trouble, and it's following them as they kind of create chaos, shall we say. And then finally, translated, I will be reading my final graphic novel. This one's a manga technically, and that is Flying Witch. That shows a girl who is a witch and she moves in with her cousins to finish her witch training, and it features travelling as well, but I think you can double up on some prompts, so I might just double that one up with travel because she's moving to a new town. It's a pretty chunky reading list for that one. There's 8 prompts for that one alone, and then obviously I've got a couple of extras. I've got 1 more, so that's 9 books so far. However, thankfully, with the magical readathon, I only need to read 2 books, and the prompts that these books fit are brilliant. And for the magical readathon, I am in House of the Crescent, so we're all about wildlife and nature, and in D&D I tend to play druids quite a lot, and when I do I always have a quarterstaff. It's become my weapon of choice, so of course for my conduit I have gone for quarterstaff, and the prompt for that is to read a book in a quartet, and that's what The Weird Sisters is. There are 4 books in the Witches series. So I was very excited to realise this because I was kind of stressing out a bit about it. And then for my legacy, which is kind of like an extra thing that only people in your house can have. And for the House of the Crescent, it is you have an animal familiar. This is a familiar that is with you and is like your little magical buddy, and the prompt was to read a book that either has on the cover or features your animal of choice. And originally I thought about doing a Sphinx for House of Sky and Breath, but then I was like, actually I don't think I would want a Sphinx, because yes, they start off quite small and cute and compact, but they get very big and I don't want to have to deal with those poops. So I thought about it and I was like, well, my usual go-to favourite sort of spiritual or magical animals are kitty cats and ravens and owls. So I know they're kind of mundane, and when we were told you could have any creature at all, I was just like, but I like my cats. So I have gone with the manga Flying Witch again for this one because it has a black cat on the cover, and if you know me and know the past 4 years, I had 2 black cats, so I love black cats. They have a bad rep and there is no need for it. So I will be having a black cat as my little companion. In total, if I do all of these books that I've mentioned in this list, that's 11 books. It is doable. However, I will be going back to work, so I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done realistically. I've also stupidly not added any audiobooks in here. So I might try and see about having a look on Scribd, see if any of these are on audiobook on there, and if so, then I might sign up for Scribd, because I know I did in the past, but I never really used it. So I feel like maybe it's time to get back on there. That is my pretty jumbo TBR for the month. If you managed to get through this entire video, let me know in the comments if you're planning on taking part in any of these readathons, or if you are following my heroic TBR with me and are following those prompts as well. Also, let me know what books you either have or are planning on reading from this list, and what did you either think about them or what are you excited for about them. But yeah, hit me up in the comments, let me know, and hopefully I will see you in or around one of the readathons over the coming month. If not, I will check in with you at the end of the month and let you know how I got on and what I did or did not read. I hope you have a really good month. I hope your reading was really good for February, and until next time, I hope you're good, I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you later.